Hey guys, welcome back. BDCKR here, and we're back with our weekly recap of all things Injustice. This is for the week of June 25th, 2020. The current character challenge is Bounty Hunter Lobo, and that is a 1 week repeat, and the required characters for that are Flash, Green Arrow, and Green Lantern, who are all bronze, so great for new incoming players.
So we're used to calling him Bounty Hunter Lobo, but it's funny that right on the challenge it actually says Lobo Bounty Hunter, which seems so wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
His passive is Hooked, which is when Lobo performs Special 2, the enemy cannot tag out until the fire damage over time runs its course, and every successful Special 2 makes the next Special 2 damage and damage over time length go up by 20%. He has 1,250 health and 950 attack. Or, sorry, the other way around. 1,250 attack and 950 health.
So, yeah, that is interesting because his stats are sort of medium, and I almost want to say low because they are low compared to the more recent challenge golds. But at one point, he actually had the highest attack stat of any of the golds.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
And another thing is this is a shorter challenge than normal, so there's 9 each fights per ladder, and then 12 instead of 12 and then 15.
Right, and I think it goes to that as once you get past the first stage.
Yeah.
His last repeat was since before we kept track of it on our spreadsheet, so at least before 2019, so 2018 or earlier. And I'm absolutely certain that when he first came out, he came out before Tentu Totem because I remember his passive was pretty useless. I remember thinking that because it relied on Special 2, and unless you could actually get to a Special 2 a bunch of times, it would take too long to actually take advantage of the repeated boost to both the damage and the damage over time.
Yeah.
And to me, it feels like he was the first character where they really made an effort to make a really powerful damage over time character, and they screwed it up by putting in Astro Harness and Blackest Night Flash to make it not as viable.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem with this Lobo is that his Special 2 range is not enough to overcome... Well, let me explain first. Best loadout for Special Specialists right now is Tentu Totem, Master's Death Card, and then the third one to do whatever you want to take advantage of their special or their whatever their special feature is.
Yeah.
And Master's Death Card, the problem is, what's normally good is the little pitter-patter hits when you tag in, generates the bar of power. In this case, it pushes them too far away, so the first hit of Lobo's Special 2 is actually the biggest damage. Mm-hmm. And you push them away, so they're out of range of it. So either you tag in and wait for them to come at you, giving them a chance to block or do something if they have bars of power, or you start your Special 2, but then you whiff on most of it, so you don't even get full value for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've actually even got a playlist of Lobo, and we'll link that in the description. Most recently, we tried him again in October 2019, and that was mainly to take advantage of what's possible now with Tentu Totem Master's Death Card, and that's when we realized, as much as we want to like him, I mean, he's literally our avatar, right? Mm-hmm. As much as we want to like him, he's not that great. He's okay.
Yeah, he's only just all right.
Yeah, he's just all right.
Yeah.
So that's too bad.
This week's multiplayer award is the Soul Taker Sword, and when it's fully maxed out, it has the abilities of 30% unblockable chance on basic attacks, 50% life drain chance on Special 2, and the evolved ability, which is 15% damage drain from defeated enemies, stacks twice.
Okay.
Last available in December of 2019. So it does look like we're back in the sort of older multiplayer award cycle pre that patch, right? And they introduced Tentu Totem, Claw of Horus, and Necron Scythe, and now they're back on sort of the old cycle. And hopefully they're just those gears are now added to the cycle, and it's just a little bit longer.
Right. Because now we've got 3 in a row back in the old cycle.
Yeah.
Right after that, those 3 in a row after the 3 additions. Mm-hmm. So it's a good piece of legendary gear. The damage drain is really useful, and I'd almost say irreplaceable when you're in the later stages of Survivor, when the opponents have huge damage. Like, they've got just huge stats, huge damage, and huge health. So, can I say it's the single most important gear for those last few stages? I mean, it's anything that scales up towards your enemies, whether it's the percentage health, but the damage is crazy. I mean, so if you're not using a survivor, it's good, but maybe not that legendary.
Yeah.
So the unblockable chance is good, 30%. The only other gear that offers unblockable chance to all characters, maybe there's 2 of them. I know for sure it's custom rifle, but that only gives you 11%. And massive sharpened teeth with 20%. Mm-hmm. Everything else is specific, right? So Doomsday's gear, it's only for Doomsday. Solomon Grundy's gear is only for Solomon Grundy, and the Flash and Nightwing gears and the Martian Manhunter gears, they're for their respective characters, right?
Yeah.
The life drain on Special 2 is only 50%. And when I say only, it's because we've got other examples like LexCorp Chestplate, which is 100% chance.
Mm-hmm. And the damage drain doesn't make a huge amount of difference against opponents that have damage which are closer to yours. And the other 2 abilities aren't attractive enough for us to use in our typical loadout. And the reason why damage drain isn't that useful in regular play is in numbers. 15% for each defeated enemy, which is at most 2 enemies, because obviously once you've beaten the 3rd enemy, if you've knocked out all 3, there's no...
So you got all that extra damage, but you can't do anything with it.
Yeah, there's nothing for that to go on. So you can get up to 30% of any enemy. In online multiplayer, they're going to have approximately similar stats to yours.
Yeah, they won't be that far out of line.
Yeah.
It won't be that much more.
Which means that no matter how... Like, even if you knock out 2 people with that, by the time you get to the last person, all you have is something that is not as good as a gear boosting the specific thing that you want, whether it's one of the specials or whether it's basic damage. Whatever your character's niche is, you just boost that thing specifically by itself.
Right, because some of the 3.5 star gears, you get 70%. You can get 70% boost to basic damage.
Yeah,
which is still, even if your opponents have twice the health that you do, you're still only getting a 60%.
You mean twice the damage?
Yeah, they've got twice the damage.
Yeah.
Then you'd be getting 30% of twice the damage. That would be up to 60%.
Yeah.
I mean, again...
And that's after a knockout.
Yeah. And again, so the damage is for everything, basic damage and specials, but the other gears you get right from the beginning, you don't have to knock anybody out. But if their damage is way more than yours, the chance of you being able to use the one guy with the Soul Taker sword to knock them out in multiplayer is pretty small. But if you're doing it in Survivor, where you've geared your team out to take on higher damage guys, then you play it so that you get him to do the damage, and then you build him up enough so that as the fight goes on, it gets a little bit easier as long as you don't let him get knocked out.
And that's when stuff like damage over time is really good, because it can bring people down based off a percentage of their health, and it can also bring them down without killing them. Right. So that's 2 reasons why damage over time is good to pair with the Soul Taker sword in Survivor.
Right.
Now in the store, we have the Arkham Killer Croc pack. It's $26.99 Canadian, and it also gives you 100,000 credits. So it doesn't unlock Arkham Killer Croc in your store. It is probably what next week's challenge is going to be. It's also probably not worth it unless you've got a lot of extra money kicking around and you really love Injustice.
And just to be clear, I mean, sometimes we take this for granted, the language and what we know. When it doesn't unlock, it means that you cannot buy promotions with power credits.
Yeah.
That you'll still be stuck. Not like
the same way that it does when you complete the challenge.
Right.
Yeah. We also have the Metropolis pack for $26.99 Canadian, and that comes with Superman, Doomsday, and Crypto Lex Luthor. So this was one of the worst packs, even when it was for credits, because they were all in the store. The math is a little bit different now, because at least it's not, credits for characters.
Right.
And it's money, but, again, unless you're drowning in money and you really want to toss some bucks to the Injustice developers, then it's probably not worth it. In our Survivor, we have the LexCorp gear set until the 1st... Oh, is it 1st of July 2020? Yeah.
Yep.
So not that much longer. Sorry, for some reason I thought we were
already in July.
The months have been blurring together. Phantom Zone is finished, and Fight 62 is still broken.
So last weekend's breakthrough was, as expected, Raven, Superman, and the Arkham Knight. And based on the schedule, likely this week is going to be Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, and Martian Manhunter.
Moving on to... first off, there's a link in the description to a Reddit thread from Devlin16 that goes over the complete breakthrough cycle if you're looking to track that yourself.
And I should also mention, if we're going to be predicting what's happening, if we're staying in the same cycle for multiplayer, next week should be MetaHuman and Flash. Yeah.
There we go. Moving on to the current glitches, just remember that every working glitch is explained in a video as part of the playlist that you can reach by clicking the eye in the top right corner of this video. We're Android only, so we're only able to confirm these glitches for Android, but we will be able to shout out the glitches that we've had in the comments. People say they work for iOS.
Right. So if we start with the not working glitches, the one thing that everybody's always interested in is something for credits. So there is no glitch for credits that we can endorse. We talk about in a lot more detail in Season 6, Episode 9 of our P and Q and C and A and T that we've linked in the eye in the top right corner and in the description. And the main point is that we consider being simultaneously logged into one account on 2 devices is just too dangerous.
Yeah.
Glitching for repeated past multiplayer season rewards isn't working. Glitch for early multiplayer season rewards is not working in a way that's exploitable.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no, well, I was going to say there's no glitch to get through Phantom Zone quickly, but Phantom Zone is done, so that doesn't really matter.
Yeah. The free energy without having to watch the video glitch is gone because the button is gone, so you can't even watch a video for free energy, never mind skip it. Moving on to working glitches. The glitch to let you play Phantom Zone repeatedly was still working as of, when Phantom Zone was last up. And the challenge reset method that requires Google Play Cloud Save is still working. That's confirmed on the Bounty Hunter Lobo challenge. The reason why we mention them together is because they each sort of do the same thing. So if you reset the challenge, you reset Phantom Zone and vice versa. So even though there's not both up right now, it's always best to keep in mind that happens, just to make sure you're not accidentally resetting like half of a crystal worth of Phantom Zone when it is up, because that would be very frustrating. We've also cut and pasted a comment from reviewer Jonathan Yang on how to reset the challenge on an iOS device, which we have had comment confirmation that it works from a couple of other people as well. So if you're on iOS, you can check that out.
Breakthrough glitch to play repeatedly, still working. The airplane mode / refund glitch is still working. It's good for both packs with random drops, also known as loot boxes and last laugh tickets. The one comment I want to make is that we've had a few comments now from people who are running, I think, Android 10 and definitely newer devices are running into trouble where they are deleting, they're needing to delete a lot more data than we are, it seems like. So
for airplane mode.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what's up with that. And I think it might be worth testing. There was a commenter that had mentioned that there's certain files that you could move out and then move back in to save having to download a bunch of stuff. I mean, we always do it on Wi-Fi with unlimited internet, so I'm sort of tempted to not do it. But I'm just curious about whether there's anything in those files that are actually crucial to the game to remember your progress. And if you do that, maybe it'll mess up doing the challenge reset.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The time shifting. It still works in Android for unlimited survivor play and energy recharges. As always, remember to return your countdown clock back to normal before you finish. And in between not working and working glitches, we have the promotion glitch, where you can promote characters that are still locked. It hasn't had the right conditions since update 2.14, so it's still not testable. It's still not usable, but it has never been tested and failed, so it stays on this list. It's got its own little sort of place of honor, because we're unlikely to be able to ever actually test it and find it to have failed or keep working.
Right.
Yeah. And to finish up, we've got some people that we'd love to thank.
Yeah.
So those are all of our patrons on Patreon. This is a huge thank you to Console Peasant and Edwoon, who are supporting us at the top tier Last Word, Mohammed Albshaiti at the Your Message Here tier, Shawn Farrell, Daniel Simonson, Aaron Maule, Michael DeVries, Brandon C. and Irvin Ruiz on the credited level, and Chris Wolff, Scarlet, Dani, and Awesomegamer 241 at the gratitude level. Thanks so much for your support, and thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Komoda!